as we have gotten this economic cycle underway, the rebound really out of the COVID pandemic, one of the trends that was starting to percolate at the end of the last decade has started to pick up once again, and that is an increase in turnover at the highest levels, at the CEO level. One former CEO, of course, is set to go to suborbital space next week. But of course, that is just emblematic of the trend of additional turnover at a time of unprecedented change for so many businesses. And joining us now to discuss all these trends is Simon Freakley. He's the CEO over at AlixPartners. Simon, great to have you on once again. Thanks for joining. So let's just talk a little bit about the data around CEO departures, and particularly what's striking, because I remember writing about this in 2019 and how little has changed. You know, the age of CEOs basically went up by 10 years over the last 10 years. It's an aging executive workforce, and it feels only natural then that, you know, turnover would start to accelerate into the beginning of this next cycle.
Well, Miles, thanks for having me back. I think there are a number of things at play here, one of which is, of course, that during the pandemic, a number of succession plans were put on hold. So it wasn't a surprise to me we saw less turnover in the C-suite during the pandemic. But of course, coming out of the pandemic, we're seeing the percentage of change rise. So I think that's not a surprise. But I think that's only one of a number of critical factors here.
Simon, so essentially, I mean, do you think part of what we're seeing, though, is also CEO burnout?
You know, I don't think that. I think the issue today is for CEOs that the pressure on them is greater, yes, but the things that they need to deliver on are broader. Yes, they have to deliver revenue and earnings growth. Yes, they have to show growth and equity value for investors. But today, they also have to be able to talk about their purpose. They have to be able to talk with authenticity about how they as a company make a difference to their employees, to their customers. And they've also got to be their chief communication officer. They can't rely on anybody else to do this. So I think, yes, the pressures on CEOs are greater. They do have to deliver the growth and value that are table stakes, but the demands are greater. But you know what? I think coming out of the pandemic, it's all about growth. It's all about what digital means to their business. And it's all about how they disrupt themselves before others do it to them.
And Simon, do you think that accountability is greater as well? That's something I think, you know, as somebody who's been covering the business world for a long time, there hasn't been fantastic accountability in many cases. You know, there's been a history of coziness between boards and executives. Maybe that's starting to change. That's something I know Brian has been watching closely. Do you think it is? And do you think that we are going to see more turnover as a result?
Do you know what, Julie? I don't think accountability has changed, but I think transparency is greater. We've just surveyed 3,000 executives in 8 global industries, 9 countries, C-suite executives, mostly CEOs, and 85% of them said that disruption to their companies in their industries was their number one concern. And so how they respond to that, how they pivot their business models to capitalize on the opportunity of these multiple disruptions, but also mitigate the challenges. And interestingly enough, the pandemic was not even in their top 3 concerns.
Simon, you're a CEO. What's the biggest challenge you're up against coming out the other side of the pandemic?
Do you know what? I think that the biggest challenge for all CEOs is moving with agility and moving to action, because a good strategy executed very well will outperform a brilliant strategy every day of the week. So the pace of change is increasing. The cycles of disruption are getting faster and faster, so there's no time to waste. And what I see, not just in my own job, Brian, but also in speaking to our clients every day around the world, is that the relentless focus on execution, staying ahead of the disruption that others do to us, is a critical success factor in all CEOs around the world.
And, you know, so Simon, let's finish this way with a question that's top of mind, both for executives and workers, which is the future of the workplace. You know, what have you guys done in terms of hybrid? What are you talking about with your clients? And you say agility, and you got to make forceful decisions. I think a lot of companies have punted on making a call because this is such a difficult one for, you know, the future of the whole organization.
Right. Well, at the nub of this, of course, Miles, is talent, how you have enough of the right talent to drive the business forward. And so a critical component of leadership is making sure that we have the right talent for the issues affecting our businesses and our markets. Once again, our survey identified the key concern for chief executives is whether they have enough of the right talent. It's not just about digital, but it is about pivoting business models. So back to leadership, on the front foot, clear sense of purpose, clarity around business plan, clarity around what is required, and then really leaning in to the execution of that strategy.
All right, we'll leave it there. Simon Freakley, CEO, AlixPartners. Simon, always great to get your thoughts. Thanks so much for jumping on. I know we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much, Miles. Bye-bye.